world called it a war. Not because blood was spilled on streets, but because lives were ruined quietly, behind glass buildings and signed contracts. The Jeon Group and the Kim Empire had been destroying each other for 3 years. Hostile takeovers, court cases, stock crashes, threats disguised as boardroom smiles. And in the middle of it all, Kim Taehyung. He stood silently at the end of the long dining table in the Kim mansion, his hands clenched behind his back, nails digging into his own skin. "Look at him," his father scoffed. "Useless, can't even contribute to the company." Taehyung didn't lift his eyes. His stepmother's heel clicked against the marble floor as she circled him like a predator. "You're useless, Taehyung," she sneered, pacing in front of him. "Your father works hard for this family, and all you do is sit here, sulking, hiding, thinking the world owes you something." "Pathetic," she whispered, low enough for only him to hear. "Remember who owns you." Taehyung swallowed. His ribs still ached from the night before. The bruises were hidden beneath silk, expensive clothes meant to hide damage, not dignity. "You will marry Jungkook." The words fell like a death sentence. Taehyung finally looked up. "What?" His voice cracked, barely audible. His father leaned back in his chair, eyes cold. "The Jeon family wants peace. Jungkook wants a spouse. You'll be the sacrifice." "I don't," Taehyung's breath stuttered. "I don't want to." A sharp slap echoed across the room. The world tilted. "You don't get to want anything," his stepmother hissed. Taehyung tasted blood. Across town, Jungkook, 25, adjusted the cuff of his tailored black suit as he prepared to meet the Kim family. The youngest son of the Jeon family, Jungkook had long grown used to the weight of his family's expectations, their constant strategizing over mergers and acquisitions. But tonight, his purpose wasn't business, at least not exactly. Jeon Jungkook was known as a monster in the industry. Cold, ruthless, unmarried at 30, no scandals, no lovers, no weaknesses. In the Kim mansion, the tension reached a fever pitch as Mr. Kim cleared his throat, finally addressing the gathering. "Jungkook, thank you for coming. As you know, our families have had disagreements in the past. But business is business, and we must find a solution that ensures both sides benefit." Jungkook inclined his head politely, maintaining a composed demeanor. "Of course, Mr. Kim. I believe we can find common ground." Miss Park, standing behind her husband, gave a sly smile. "Actually, I have a proposal." Her voice was sweet but dripping with manipulation. "A marriage alliance between Taehyung and Jungkook. It would end any potential disputes and strengthen both families permanently." The room fell silent. Taehyung's heart sank, his stomach twisting in knots. His stepmother's schemes always hurt someone, but now she had targeted him directly. Taehyung's throat felt dry. He opened his mouth, wanting to speak, but words failed him. Before he could protest, Jungkook's gaze met his. For a brief moment, Taehyung caught a flicker of something, concern, kindness, or just polite curiosity. Noticed the way he flinched, the bruises hidden beneath silk. Jungkook had known. For months, he had known because he paid people to know. Because the moment Taehyung's name was mentioned as a bargaining chip, Jungkook had already decided this marriage was not business. It was something else for him. It's an honor, Jungkook said smoothly, his voice even. I will do my best to make this union successful. Taehyung's chest tightened. The words were formal, but the look in Jungkook's eyes was strange. It was not the cold, calculating look of a businessman. There was care, something unspoken, yet profound. He remembered seeing Taehyung months ago at a charity gala. A young man standing quietly by the window, dressed in a sleek black suit, eyes wandering yet filled with something fragile, something raw. Jungkook had felt an unfamiliar pull at that moment, a sensation that made him step closer just to see him better. The world had dimmed around him when he saw Taehyung smile briefly at a joke someone had told. It wasn't a confident smile, not one that belonged to someone secure and protected. It was small, cautious, and fleeting, yet it had burned into Jungkook's mind. Something in him wanted to shield that fragile light from the darkness surrounding it. That night, Taehyung lay awake in his room, staring at the ceiling, his stepmother's words replayed in his mind. He felt trapped, suffocated, and more alone than ever. And yet, a tiny spark of curiosity burned when he thought of Jungkook. Why had his eyes lingered on him? Why did he feel different from all the others? He shook his head. Foolish. He had no right to think such things. This marriage wasn't about love. It was a business transaction. His life, once again, was not his own. The wedding day arrived with all the pomp and ceremony one could imagine. The chandeliers sparkled, the orchestras played, and the guests whispered about the powerful union. Taehyung moved through it all like a ghost, feeling detached, fragile, and yet strangely aware of Jungkook's presence at his side. During the vows, as he looked into Jungkook's eyes, Taehyung felt a flicker of hope and fear. Could someone really care for him beyond duty or pity? Or would this marriage simply chain him further into the loneliness he had always known? When the ceremony ended and the crowd erupted into applause, Jungkook leaned slightly toward him, murmuring, I'll protect you, Taehyung, always. Taehyung's heart thudded painfully. For the first time in years, he felt a dangerous mix of fear and longing. Little did he know, the storm of emotions, betrayals, and truths yet to come would shake the foundations of both their lives and test the very meaning of love, trust, and family. The morning sunlight filtered softly through the silk curtains of the Kim Jeon residence, painting the spacious bedroom in warm gold. Taehyung stirred beneath the crisp white sheets, feeling an unfamiliar weight on his chest, a mix of anxiety, guilt, and something else he didn't yet name. His hands instinctively tugged at the hem of his long-sleeved pajamas, subconsciously trying to hide the faint bruises that crept along his forearms. He hated that he even cared. On the other side of the room, the faint sound of footsteps made him tense. Jungkook entered silently, holding a tray with tea and a small breakfast. His eyes, sharp yet soft, scanned the room before landing on Taehyung. For a moment, he hesitated, sensing the unease radiating from him. "Good morning," Jungkook said softly, placing the tray on the nightstand. "Sleep well?" Taehyung glanced up, his eyes wary. I I guess," he murmured, avoiding Jungkook's gaze. Jungkook nodded, sitting on the edge of the bed carefully. He reached for the blanket, adjusting it gently over Taehyung's shoulders. His gaze flicked downward, noticing the faint discoloration along Taehyung's wrists. "Taehyung, are you hurt?" he asked, voice calm but firm. Taehyung's heart skipped. No one had ever asked him that before, not really. He hesitated, feeling a strange mix of fear and relief. It's nothing," he whispered, looking away. Jungkook's hand remained near him, patient but steady. "I don't think it's nothing. You don't have to hide it from me. I just want you to be safe." Taehyung froze. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Not his father, not his stepmother, and certainly not anyone else. For the first time, he felt the dangerous warmth of trust flickering in his chest and fear of letting it grow. Taehyung sat at the kitchen island later that day, untouched tea cooling in front of him. The TV played softly in the background. Breaking news. Kim Group headquarters has been raided this morning following allegations of financial misconduct and abuse of power. Use Galoda's allegations of financial misconduct and abuse of power. Taehyung's hands trembled. Sources confirm arrest warrants are being prepared. His chest tightened painfully. How can this be possible? This was his fault. It had to be. The screen shifted to footage his father being escorted through a building, face twisted in rage and humiliation. Taehyung stood abruptly, chair clattering backward. Jungkook appeared instantly, blocking the screen with his body. "Don't," Jungkook said. "I didn't want this," Taehyung whispered, voice cracking. "I didn't want them to face consequences." Jungkook cut in, tone sharp. "They earned this. You did this. Who are you?" Taehyung asked, stepping back in disbelief. Why? Why did you do this?" "I didn't want this," Taehyung whispered, voice cracking. "I didn't want them to face consequences." Jungkook cut in, tone sharp. "They earned this. They dared to lay a hand on my husband. And I didn't need to do anything. I just showed the world what they had done, their real face." Taehyung shook his head, tears spilling. "They'll hurt me for this. They always." "They can't," Jungkook said firmly. Taehyung laughed weakly. "You don't understand. They'll find a way." Jungkook stepped closer. "They don't get access to you anymore," he said. "Not legally, not physically, not financially." He pulled Taehyung into his chest, letting him hide there, heartbeat strong and steady beneath his ear. Taehyung clutched Jungkook's shirt like it was oxygen. "I'm sorry," Taehyung whispered. "I'm weak." Jungkook's jaw tightened. "You survived," he murmured. "That's not weakness." That night, Taehyung slept in Jungkook's arms. Nothing more. And everything changed. In the following weeks, living together became a delicate dance. Jungkook observed Taehyung's anxiety, noticing the way he flinched at loud voices, the small scars hidden beneath tailored sleeves. Each revelation only deepened Jungkook's desire to protect him, to show him what love could feel like when it was free of judgment or abuse. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the walls Taehyung had built around himself began to crumble. He caught himself leaning into Jungkook's presence, craving reassurance and the quiet moments where they could share stolen smiles and fleeting touches. And unbeknownst to him, Jungkook's own obsession deepened. He recalled the night at the party months ago when he first saw Taehyung, how his heart had stopped, how every instinct had screamed that this man needed protection, care, and love. And now, living with him, feeling him close, Jungkook was determined to do whatever it took to heal the broken pieces of Taehyung's heart, even if it meant enduring the painful misunderstandings that would surely come. As the days passed, the slow burn between them intensified, moments of longing glances, subtle touches that lingered longer than necessary, whispered words in the dark that hinted at the passion and desire they both felt but were too afraid to fully express. But beneath the growing intimacy, the storm of past abuse still lingered in Taehyung's heart, a shadow that neither time nor affection had fully erased. And Jungkook didn't know that the true test of their bond was still to come